A warm welcome. You're watching news now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Fidelia Aguncha. The execution of Red Cross midwife Hawa Liman has drawn condemnation from the Nigerian government, presidential aspirant, and an international agency. Hawa Liman is the second aid worker to be killed by Boko Haram in the past 1 month. She was among 3 Red Cross staff abducted by the sect in March 2018. The federal government has condemned the killing, with the Ministry of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, describing it as dastardly, inhuman, and ungodly. Mohammed commiserated with the family of the aid worker, insisting that the federal government did all within its powers to save her life. In his reaction, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, on his Twitter account, expressed his sadness over the murder, urging the federal government to ensure the release of other captives, including Dapchi's crewgirl, Leah Sharibu. Senate President Bukola Saraki has also been reacting to the incident. He described the killing as callous and ungodly. In the same vein, human rights organization Amnesty International has also expressed sadness over the killing, adding that the insurgent must not go unpunished. In a related development, the Bring Back Our Girls campaign group is protesting the killing of Hawa Liman. They have been marching around Abuja with several placards to express their displeasure over the government's alleged inaction to rescue the aid worker. Liman was killed 24 hours after the International Committee of the Red Cross raised alarm that the sect was threatening to kill the aid worker if no contact is established by the Nigerian government. The group now wants the federal government to ensure that the remaining captives, including Leah Sharibu, are released safely.
We are here today to simply say that enough is enough. We can't keep losing Nigerians like this. This is a 24-year-old young girl who went out to provide humanitarian assistance to victims who are victims of our own collective failure. Nigeria failed her. Nigeria failed Hawa. Nigeria failed Sephora. Nigeria is failing Leah Sharibu. Nigeria is failing Alice. Nigeria is failing the remaining 102 Chibok girls. Nigeria is failing all the other abductees that are still in abduction.
I pray that this will be a wake-up call for the government to do everything possible to rescue Leah Sharibu and the other girls in captivity, including Alice. Apart from them, there are about 5 military officers in captivity that we know of, and there are several other people in captivity. I'm from Borno State. We've lost so many people since the Boko Haram crisis started. And up to today, there are so many people missing, so many people unaccounted for. We pray this government will live up to its responsibility and do something fast.
We are amazed that in a country that we have government, we have the army, we have the police, we have the SSS, we have all the paraphernalia of government in office, and we have someone who should be the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. We are completely amazed that nothing was done to prevent this dastard act.
The Nigerian Army has established a cyber command center in its determination to neutralize the strength of terrorist activities on the cyberspace. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuka Borotai, says the command is principally to empower the Nigerian Army with the capabilities to protect its data and network against cyber attacks and hostile elements. The center will also assist the Army on data protection and information warfare to curb online terrorist activities.
The Nigerian Army decided to establish the Nigerian Army Cyber Warfare Command to empower the Nigerian Army with the capabilities to protect our data network against cyber attacks and hostile elements. The Cyber Operations Center will also enable robust online presence so as to fight fake news targeted at the Nigerian Army with counter-narratives and cyber operations. Therefore, you must equip yourselves with digital forensic capabilities and be able to handle cases of identity theft and generate immediate incident response. Furthermore, I encourage the Nigerian Army Cyber Warfare Command to routinely survey the dark web, dark net, and carry out analysis that may help the Nigerian Army to proactively be within the cyber domain.
In politics, ahead of the 2019 general elections, the Senate has approved a total sum of 53 billion naira for the office of the National Security Advisor, or NSA, and other security agencies. The fund is meant for the supervision of the 2019 general elections. Also to benefit from the fund is the Department of State Services DSS, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC, Nigerian Police Force, and the Nigerian Immigration Service NIS. The Senate Committee on Appropriation recommended their approval after its report on the budget was adopted at plenary on Tuesday. Kayode Fayemi has been sworn in as the new governor of Ekiti State, replacing Ayodele Fayose. This will be Fayemi's second spell in office as governor of the southwestern state. The former Minister of Mines and Steel Development ruled the state between 2010 and 2014 before he was defeated by Fayose in the 2014 governorship election in the state. His predecessor Fayose was however absent at the swearing-in ceremony following his Monday trip to Abuja to answer to questions over alleged corruption and misuse of office at the EFCC headquarters in Abuja. Fayose has now willingly surrendered to the EFCC at its headquarters in Abuja. The former governor, who is accused of money laundering, arrived at the EFCC office alongside Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, former Aviation Minister Femi Fani-Kayode, and senior lawyer Mike Ozokame. Fayose insists he is not afraid of prosecution.
I am here to, in line with my promise, that I will be here on the 16th of October. And like I said to EFCC, they should await my arrival. This morning they've been to my house, they've condoned up my street, which I feel personally is unnecessary, is unwarranted. When the man says he's coming, Nigerians should be given the benefit of the doubt. I have led Ekiti, and the best I could give, I've given. Therefore, every question, whatever they need to ask today, I will be able to respond appropriately. Nobody should be afraid of the FCC, especially when you have nothing to hide. Yes. I remain courageous for Nigeria, and I will stand in the space for Nigeria, because this country belongs to all of us.
The opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, has announced Senate President Bukola Saraki as the head of its presidential campaign efforts. Saraki was among 11 other aspirants who challenged Atiku Abubakar for the presidential ticket of the PDP. All the aspirants have pledged to support Abubakar after deeming the exercise peaceful and transparent. His official position as the Director General of the Atiku Abubakar Presidential Campaign Organization was disclosed on Tuesday by Kola Ologbodino, the party spokesperson. The Senate President will work with 6 others who would coordinate 6 geopolitical zones, including 3 other former contenders for the presidential tickets. Some southeastern politicians have backed the emergence of Peter Obi as the PDP vice presidential candidate. Obi has been selected by Atiku Abubakar as his running mate in the 2019 elections. The selection has drawn mixed reactions from some quarters, but Dan Nwanyangu, chairman Zenith Labour Party, and Chukwuemeka Ezeife, former governor of Anambra State, have thrown their weight behind Obi's candidacy.
Let all of them read their CV, put it side by side with Peter Obi. How many of them will match his CV? I mean, it's funny. You see, I have a presidential candidate. We're going to decide it in the field. You get what I'm saying? But you see, as it concerns our people, I was so pissed off when they said the Igbos on behalf of who appointed them. Did Umahi consult anybody before he picked his deputy? Who are they to be consulted? Look at all of them there. Have they delivered on good governance? Quid Peter Obi did for 8 years. Have they? Go to the various states, apart from 1 or 2 of them. Others are disasters. They can't speak for the Igbo. And let me also tell them, the Igbo tribe does not belong to PDP. The Igbo tribe does not belong to PDP alone. So when they are opening their mouth to talk, they must also know there are people like us by the side. Okay. There are other people by the side who are not a PDP, okay, who also belong to that tribe. Are you getting me? Yes, sir. So if the vice president is zoned by different political parties to the Igbo land, it doesn't mean that it belongs. If you become vice president, you're not going to be vice president of the Igbo. So when people must speak, they must speak from position of integrity. They must not speak because they are paid hirelings.
He knows how to manage the economy. He is very economical. That's what Nigeria needs. This is a country that we have gone spendthrift. We are corrupt in the extreme, and people try to take all the money they can see and take to Dubai and America and other foreign countries. So Peter is the person for this time to change back to good quality the things we do.
Still on political affairs, crisis rocking the Labour Party has taken another turn as the party has now decided not to field any candidate in the 2019 election. Spokesperson of the party, Ebere Ifendu, says the party took the decision following the candidate affiliation with Abdul Kadir Abdusalam, a factional chairman of the party. Ifendu says the party has no business with Abdusalam and has communicated the new decision to INEC.
Unfortunately for them, if you may recall, we put it out and we warned the public not to do anything with Salam because we knew it would come to this point. And they didn't listen to us. I'm repeating it again. Labour Party is not going to have any candidate in 2019 election. Reason being that our tenure ended on 10th October. There is no existing National Working Committee. There is no chairman and secretary at this point to sign any nomination forms. And any nomination forms taken into INEC after 10th October is null and void. That is in contempt of the court order. So where we are now is no longer what INEC can even work with, because INEC on their own wrote him a letter, and a reminder, a copy of the letter will be shared to the press, asking for an all-inclusive convention. Unfortunately, Salam decided to go and elongate his stay, which is outside the consent judgment. And so he's already in violation of that order. It's no longer an issue now because INEC themselves, they have obeyed the court order by asking Salam and us to have an all-inclusive convention. And that's where we are now.
Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has charged judges in the state to ensure speedy delivery of justice. Ambode gave the charge at a ceremony to mark the beginning of the 2018-2019 legal year. He also restated his government's commitment to supporting the judiciary in Lagos State.
The 2018-2019 legal year in Lagos State has officially kicked off. Judges in the southwestern state are gathering at the Cathedral Church of Christ, Marina, for a special service to commemorate the beginning of the official judicial calendar. First to address the judges is the host, Diocesan Bishop of Lagos Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, Right Reverend Humphrey Olumakaye. He commends judges for the role they have been playing in national development, but admonishes them to discharge justice without fear or favor.
For us to prosper physically and spiritually, for a nation to prosper physically, spiritually, we must be righteous. Whenever there is a conflict of what we want and what God wants, we must rely on God for direction. To people outside and inside this forum, we are like lawyers pleading the case before the great judge in heaven, saying, I quote, "Hear our cry, O Lord. Let there be righteousness in the judicial system," unquote. If God can turn the hearts of kings, we pray that our hearts, here seated, be turned towards heaven to hear his plans for our nation.
In his address, Governor Akinwumi Ambode begins by listing some of the achievements of his administration in the judiciary.
Our administration recognizes the separate but interwoven roles of the three arms of government, and part of our own commitment to a lawful and orderly society is to respect the limits of those constitutionally defined roles. This we have always done. One of the cardinal policies of our government has been the enthronement of law and order. Today, I stand a happy man knowing we delivered on those promises. The increased workload and number of cases in our courts necessitated the appointment of more judges and magistrates, as well as the construction of more courthouses and renovation of existing courts to befit our judiciary. These are to be complemented by the improved welfare of our judges and magistrates. The introduction of the Lagos State DNA and Forensic Center further enhanced the quality of justice delivery in the state. And we have also developed policies and legislations that will aid speedy dispensation of justice.
He then goes on to charge the judges to ensure speedy dispensation of justice.
As our state remains the cynosure of excellence and the economic hub of Africa, our judiciary must continue to be the forefront of judicial reforms to meet the expectation of the modern-day justice sector. My lords, we bear the responsibility of 24 million people who look up to you and I to protect them with the law. Our justice system must remain sound, fair, and effective. The plague of delay in justice delivery is still of major concern. All stakeholders in the sector must ensure that the issue of delay is tackled vigorously by creating innovative models for achieving speedy and efficient justice delivery system, which can be replicated more broadly across the country.
The judges have also been charged to ensure they maintain the virtues of honesty, love, sincerity, and dignity of labor in the discharge of their duties. Oyin Adekunle, TV360 Nigeria.
Up next is news and business after this break.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
Wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the go-to app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Glad to have you back. Let's now join Annetta Felix for the latest in business. Hello, Annetta.
Hello, Fidelia.
So there is news from the National Bureau of Statistics concerning the inflation figure of Nigeria. Can you tell us more about that?
That's right. The National Bureau of Statistics says the Consumer Price Index, which measures inflation, is now at 11.28% in September from 11.23% recorded in August on a year-on-year basis. Now, this is 0.05 percentage points higher than the rate recorded in August 2018, and it's the second consecutive month of increase after 18 months of decline. The MBS says the headline index increased by 0.84% in September 2018 on a month-on-month basis, down by 0.21 percentage points from the rate recorded in August 2018. Now, some factors like the farmers' headers crisis and most recently flooding in some parts of the country have led to a drop in in food production. And World Bank has actually cut its growth projection for Nigeria from 2.1% to 1.9% as a result of this farmers' headers crisis. Also, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has urged stakeholders in public-private partnership not to exclude social infrastructure in their project. Osinbajo gave the advice at a 2-day public-private partnership workshop in Abuja. He also commended the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, ICRC, for the deployment of a web disclosure portal, which he says stimulates investor interest significantly.
Governments evidently lack the resources to solely finance, build, and manage public infrastructure. So the way out is PPPs, and our Infrastructure Concession and Regulatory Commission has since its inauguration taken over about 55 PPP projects all over the country. Besides, there are several well-known PPP projects, including the Murtala Mohammed Airport, 2, Garki Hospital here in Abuja, the Kainji, Jeba, Shiroro hydroelectric power projects, and about 25 terminals concessioned to private operators. But managing these PPPs through stakeholder management, performance monitoring, refinancing, renegotiation, and dispute resolution is probably as crucial for governments as the PPPs themselves.
The national president of the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, Williams Akporeha, has implored the federal government to take urgent action in the poor state of roads, especially on the Oshodi-Apapa Road. The NUPENG chief wants the government to take decisive steps towards fixing the roads in order to reduce the spate of accidents, continued loss of lives, and to enhance the revenue generation drive from the port. Now, Akporeha described the roads as a death trap riddled with potholes and also called for urgent attention as the Yuletide approaches.
Not just a trade union, it's also a pressure group and a civil society, and we'll continue to stand up, for any policy, that does not have the interests of Nigeria masses, at heart. We have continued to ask, the government of the day, to provide good roads, and also provide a good parking area, for the tankers. You will agree with me that the tanker drivers are doing a great job, because there are a group of workers that doesn't even observe public holidays and weekends, But the government of the day too is also doing what is necessary to ensure that, their jobs are made easy by way of, good parking areas, and better roads. So let me also use the opportunity, to also ask government that please, we need more better roads, and better parking arrangement, for our tanker drivers.
And we'll be taking a look at the stock market report for today after this. What a strong closing at the Nigerian stock market today after a tense trading session as the all-share index recovered from its 0.14% decline yesterday to a huge increase of 0.95% today. And the market capitalization was 11.946 trillion naira. Now, this might seem a bit insignificant until you consider the magnitude. The amount of increase this was. This figure right here is 113 billion naira, up from the market cap yesterday. Now, shareholders bought more stocks from the banking and consumer goods sector, and Dangote Cement was top on the list of gainers. Now, this is not a surprise, as the company yesterday unveiled a new brand of cement that they say is the best for construction and would actually go a long way in limiting collapse of buildings in Nigeria. And Aliko Dangote, chairman of the Dangote Group, yesterday released $275 million for the construction of a new cement plant and a 100 megawatt coal power plant in Niger, and that's to bring down the price of cement. So let's take a look now at the top losers. We see that Seplat, Better Glass, Julius Berger, and Flour Mills of Nigeria PLC all lost, losing at 1.59%, 10.00%, minus 9.83% and minus 2.83% today. Taking a look at the top traders now, we see that Guarantee Trust Bank and Fidelity Bank are actually top traders for the second time this week. And even though Sun Assurance is actually the highest traded shares today, starting at over 500 million shares, we see that Guarantee Trust Bank made the most in terms of value, and that's at 1.534 billion naira. Taking a look at the market summary today, we see that the volume of shares traded today is at 662.021 million shares, and this is at a value of 5.312 billion naira, and it's all in a total of 3.025 deals. Let's see what the stock market has for us today. We see that the bulls is actually dominating the Financial Times and Stock Exchange today again, as the climb moved actually 0.5% higher to close at 0.43%. The Dow Jones over here continued its recovery from the sell-offs from last week and also moved up from its 0.17% decline yesterday to a 1.39% increase in the all-share index today. Now, stock prices rose sharply on Tuesday today after the release of good and strong quarterly results from some of the largest companies in the US, and that's including Netflix. But let's see, how is it doing in Asia? Stocks in Japan also bounced back as bargain hunters renewed buying, and the all-share index actually increased to 1.25%. And that's it from me, Fidelia.
Well, thank you, Annette. An impressive recovery from the Nigeria Stock Exchange. Well, the news on inflation rising, well, that's quite sad, looking at the fact that we are approaching the Yuletide season, that is Christmas. Well, we hope that it doesn't go much higher than that figure. Well, thank you, Annette, for all that. Coming up is news on foreign and sportsing after this break.
The Wale Soyinka Award for Investigative Reporting is here again. Are you a Nigerian journalist or team of journalists working full-time or freelance? Do you have investigative stories on regulatory failures, corruption in public and corporate sectors, or human rights abuses published between 4th October 2017 and 3rd October 2018? You can now submit your works for the 13th Wale Soyinka Award for Investigative Reporting. Award categories include print, radio, television, photo, online, and editorial cartoon. Submission deadline is Wednesday, 24th October 2018 by 4 p.m. Winners will receive cash prizes, gifts, and international travel opportunities worth 1 million naira. Other finalists will also be rewarded. Submit all entries apart from the online category at the WSCIJ office, 18A Abiodun Shobajo Street, off Latif Jakonde Road, Agidingbi, Ikeja, Lagos. For more information, please visit www.wscij.org or call 0908 251 5179.
Levels of hunger in the Democratic Republic of Congo have doubled since last year. This is according to a new report by the UN and the Congolese government. It says close to half of all children under the age of 5 are suffering from malnutrition, and more than 13 million people, that is nearly a fifth of the Congolese population, do not have enough food. In addition to a poor harvest, the report says the crisis is especially acute in North Kivu and Ituri provinces in eastern DR Congo, where violence has displaced thousands of people. It warns that farmers there are scared of working in their fields, and young people are joining armed groups and going into prostitution to find money for food. And in sports, Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode says the 4th edition of the Access Bank Lagos City Marathon, which is scheduled for February 2nd, 2019, is expected to feature more than 150,000 athletes across the world. Ambode, who spoke at a press conference at the Lagos House in Ikeja, says the 2019 edition of the race is targeted at setting new world records. He also pledged more focus on local and disabled athletes.
The stage is now set for the 4th edition of the Access Bank Lagos City Marathon. Stakeholders and key organizers are gathered here in the state capital, Ikeja, to brief newsmen on the plans for the 2019 edition of the event. First to speak is the host governor, Akinwumi Ambode, who lines out his expectations for the event.
The whole idea is to turn this thing from bronze to silver. The last 2 editions, we had people, maybe like 100,000 participants or 120. We want to make sure that come February, we will have nothing less than 150,000 participants. The reason why we want to go to 150,000 is to create a new record and create a new platform to allow the 2019 edition to herald what is going to happen in the next 6 years. We believe strongly that in another 6 years, when we're marking the 10th anniversary, we should actually become a top-class marathon, and that's where the vision is.
The Lagos Marathon has been won by foreigners in the first 3 editions. But Ambode wants the 2019 edition to be different.
People complain, they keep saying, why is it that, each marathon is being, won by foreigners? But again, like my president said, we have the enabling environment to make our own marathoners win. If you're practicing and you're running in the Plateau or in Taraba states, it's just a matter of spending days in Lagos to come and actually compete. Those are the things that we have not fused together. They are all just in pieces. People are not putting them together. And obviously we should be able to compete with Kenyans and Ethiopians because we also have that same kind of favorable climate that make them run faster than us. So I just want to also appeal that we use this platform to also put everything together. And then maybe, we pay attention to it and address those issues that don't really make our marathoners to come into the forefront.
After the governor's address, the chief sponsor of the event, the managing director of Access Bank, Herbert Wigwe, assures of his bank's continued support to the marathon.
It's about all the sponsors coming together. We will take it to a new level, unprecedented. We've done very well so far. We are now at the bronze level. This particular marathon must take us to silver. If there's one thing that we have to be proud of, will be our contribution to Lagos and making Lagos a great place and home for everybody.
In his own speech, the chairman of Lagos State Sports Commission, Kweku Tando, highlights the government's plan to sustain a marathon culture in the southwestern state.
To ensure that the culture is sustained, His Excellency has approved the construction of a Lagos Marathon Village inside the Testing Balogun Stadium. It's going to serve as the headquarters of marathon races in Lagos. And what we have in mind is that there is a vision to have various sectorial marathons. Lagos Women Run, for example, Ms. Tayo Popola, it's coming up next month in Lagos, the Lagos Women Run. We have the Swan Media Marathon. I think Mr. Tony Ugani is here as well. It's also coming up in December, I think 1st of December. And we also envisage that we're going to be having Ekpe Marathon, Ikorodu Marathon, and so on and so forth. So we need a coordinating office under the direction of the Lagos State Sports Commission. And that's the vision that led to the reconstruction of that facility within Testing Balogun to serve as the Lagos Marathon Village.
The 2019 Lagos State Marathon is expected to hold on February 2nd, 2019. Adeshawa Odushoga, TV360 Lagos.
Well, that's great work being done by the Lagos State Government and Access Bank. Well, that's it on News Now. Do log into our website at TV360 Nigeria for more news updates and download our app on Play Store. It is TV360 Nigeria. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.